I'm J.R. Church. Welcome to today's webcast. We've got Gary Stearman with us, and Avi Lipkin is with us as well. Avi, Gary, God bless you. I want you to tell us about your new book, Islam Prophesied in Genesis. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, this is my fifth book, and it is basically a compilation of the book of Genesis done in the Jewish manner, but through Christian eyes. In other words, I've been in the churches 20 years, and I see how the Christians study the Bible eschatologically, something the Jews do not do. So my book is a synthesis which brings together both Jewish and Christian understanding of who God is and who the devil is, what is good, what is bad, what is peace, what is war, what is love, what is hate, what is creation, what is destruction. And everything that we see happening today in the world, the wars, the destruction, the deserts, I don't want to talk about global warming, but the terrible things that are happening are the work of the devil. And God gives us a very, very clear choice. We're not robots. We have a free choice, and either we follow the Lord or we follow the devil.
Now, Avi, this book is interesting, and it's going to be interesting to you, too, because it's divided in the way that the Jews divide the book of Genesis when they read it into parashas. Explain how this works, what these divisions are.
Yes, well, the parasha is basically the watershed. Parasha means watershed or compartmentalization of a certain theme. And it usually comes out to about six columns in the Torah. The first parasha is Genesis, the creation. Second parasha is Noah, the destruction, and then the recreation. It ends with Abraham, and then the third parasha is Abraham and Sarah. The fourth is Abraham, Isaac, Sarah, and of course the rejection of Ishmael, who is the forefather of Islam. So this is really one of the first prophecies in the book.
That third parasha, then, the one that deals with Abraham, Sarah, and Ishmael, sort of becomes the center of your idea.
The book. Very correct. One of the things most people don't understand is that God is very clear. God says 4 times very clearly, your seed, Abraham, your seed will be through Isaac, not through Ishmael. And yet Ishmael, who is the father of the Muslim nations, the Muslim faith, or psychosis as I call it, Ishmael is described in a prophecy in Genesis 16 verse 11 as a wild donkey, a wild ass. You ever see a wild donkey kicking in all directions? And if you pray for your forefather to be that man, you're going to be a wild ass and a wild donkey. And he behaved in a very perverted manner with his little brother Isaac. That's why Sarah chased them out. It said to Abraham, send them away, Hagar and Ishmael, because he was also a pervert. He was a wild donkey and a pervert. This is the father of Islam. And we see their behavior as a result, following the example of Ishmael, Muhammad, and a lot of these Islamic leaders today.
Now, metaphorically speaking, a donkey has always been known for being stubborn.
Stubborn and wild.
Yes.
And you cannot get near a donkey. And you know, it's also very important, a lot of Jews and Christians, this is way over their heads, some of them know, some of the Jews and Christians know that Ishmael was the one, according to Islam, who was supposed to be sacrificed. And I asked them, do you know where Ishmael was supposed to be sacrificed? Oh yeah, Mount Moriah. I said, no, Mount Moriah is never mentioned in the Quran. Jerusalem is never mentioned in the Quran. That's holy only for the Jews and the Christians. Ishmael was supposed to be sacrificed at the Kaaba, the black stone in Mecca, by Abraham, Hagar, and Ishmael. There were 3, the genie in the bottle. I am the genie of the lamp. I'll give you 3 requests. That's what you have in the Quran. It says the jinns, the genies. 3 devils or 3 genies appeared unto Abraham, Hagar, and Ishmael and said, you're going to sacrifice Ishmael. So what did they do? They threw stones and chased them away. They threw stones at the 3 genies. And so the Muslims, when they have their Hajj or their pilgrimage to Mecca, part of the Hajj is throwing stones at the 3 columns. The Saudis build these 3 columns representing the devil or the 3 devils. But that's Islamic faith. Their faith says that it wasn't Isaac, which of course puts them in another ballpark from the Jews and the Christians. For us, it's Isaac. 4 times God says it. Esau was the older son, just like Ishmael. But it was the younger son who got the blessing, because the younger son, Jacob, was anointed. Esau was not anointed. What is the blessing of Isaac to Esau? You will live by the sword. And living by the sword is a curse, according to the Judeo-Christian faith. Genesis 9 says Anyone who sheds the blood of another human being, his blood will be shed in turn, because we are all created in the image of God. In Islam, in chapter 2, verse 216 of the Quran, it says slaughtering people with the sword is obligatory upon you. And even though you might not like to slaughter people with the sword, but Allah knows it's a good thing. Is that God or is that the devil? Slaughtering, chopping people up with the sword?
It's amazing.
And so that's, of course, one of the emphasis. So the point I'm saying is, indeed, that the anchor, the key to the book, is the genealogy of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, holy to the Jews and Christians. And, of course, like I said before, this is confirmed in the New Testament, in the first gospel, first chapter, first verse, first words of the New Testament. These are the generations of Jesus Christ, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not Ishmael. And that's why Jews and Christians must not, for religious reasons, must not support Islam in any way, because they are supporting a replacement theology which replaces the God of the Jews and the Christians, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
The original replacement theology.
Correct.
Wow.
I want you to get this book. It's called Islam, Prophesied in Genesis. Now remember, right after the Feast of Tabernacles, in the Jewish synagogues, the Jewish people start reading Genesis. For the next 12 weeks, they have 12 weekly readings. Well, this book is divided up into those 12 weekly readings, and in each one of those, Avi Lipkin has shown how that the devil and Ishmael constitute the very antithesis of what God is trying to do in his great plan of the ages. It's all here in this book, $14.95 plus shipping and handling. Call the phone number at the bottom of your screen and order it from us today. We'll be glad to send it out to you, and it will open your eyes. And it is a terrific explanation of why Ishmael and his offspring are the very antithesis of good, and they are the very thesis of evil. Gary?
Well, JR, I'd just like to say that there is so much more in this book that we haven't had a chance to touch on today. I think you've got a feel for it. There's a wealth of historical detail in here and some understanding that needs, I think, to be gained by everyone in the world today. Avi, it's been great. Thanks for being on Prophecy in the News.
It's good to be back. We've been together since 1995, so I feel almost like family with you guys.
We appreciate you coming to
Indeed.
be with us.
Amen.
I'm J.R. Church. We'll see you again tomorrow with our analysis of the news.